Welcome, listeners, to the Gamer Headlines Show. Gamer Headlines' weekly entertainment podcast. This is episode 29. I am one of your co-hosts, Adnan Riaz. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, 24601, Chris Cortez.
That is fucking awesome. That's gonna be my new fucking... That's my name.
That's a new thing. You have to introduce yourself next week as well as 24601, Chris Cortez.
I'm gonna have to remember that. Dude, like you mentioned this earlier, but it feels like it's been such a long time since our last episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It feels like... It just, I don't know, like, some weeks it feels like it's been a year. Some weeks it feels like it's been, like, 2 days since we last spoke. To be honest, it actually depends on the news. Like, if nothing happens, it's sort of like, has any time gone past?
Yeah.
When, like, 4 or 5 big stories happen, we're like, shit. It's been ages.
Yeah, it's just it's been like this whole thing, but we're back now, guys, and we're better than ever, just like Zorro himself from the hit Antonio Banderas movie. I butchered that, god damn it.
Anthony Hopkins, I was hoping you'd say.
Yeah, well, hey, I would have been half
yes.
right. So fuck. But that's a great movie, by the way, The Mask of Zorro. Excellent fucking movie.
Ages. I remember when Zorro was the big thing as well at that point. Everyone was buzzing over it. Never understood the appeal.
I just thought, the guy who directed The Mask of Zorro was Martin Campbell, and he was the same guy who directed two of my favorite Bond movies, GoldenEye and Casino Royale. So I'm like, maybe that's why I like. Because then they made the sequel. I forgot what it was called, and it sucked. Like the sequel to Zorro, where he has like a little kid. That was god awful. That was like complete dog shit. It really was. It was so bad.
Zorro had a child.
It was like that. It was like the summer where like all these heroes had kids, and you're like, why? I guess that makes sense. That's what they do. But like, fuck. And it was just stupid. It kind of took a dump on everything that was The Mask of Zorro. Anyway.
I hate it.
Well, enough about taking dumps on Zorro. Dude. I felt like it's been a month, but it's only been a week. But talk nerdy to me, Adnan. What's been happening since last podcast, dude?
This is actually the first talk nerdy in a while that's gone either way.
Yeah, it's...
We both have something to say, because we fused it for the Daredevil one, then last week I was like, I don't have anything, Chris, like, just leave me be.
I'll be like, it's cool, I'll just promote my movie, and then,
Yeah, plug it. But yes, I actually got some time to kind of play a game that I haven't played before. But I actually got time to flick around for some movies as well. And I watched Selma, last year's film that came out, which kind of focuses on the civil rights movement and Martin Luther King and the kind of Selma incident in Alabama, where they kind of build up the opposition to like help black people get the vote.
Right.
And watching it was really one of those great historical movies I really love to watch. Because I watched, unfortunately, I watched J. Edgar as well last week, which is the Edgar Hoover biopic, which has Leonardo DiCaprio and is directed by Clint Eastwood.
Right.
And like that is just such a shame, because like when I remember when I heard that get announced like years ago, I was like, oh, this might be DiCaprio's year. It's like fucking Eastwood directing. You're doing a biopic on J. Edgar Hoover. You're not gonna get an Oscar. It's absolutely bombed. It really is a bad film. But Selma is really good. Like, it has its historical inaccuracies, especially with kind of like Lyndon Johnson. They really do kind of portray him. At the end they kind of redeem it, but he is portrayed pretty badly, which is a huge, huge shame. And what happens? And yeah, I think it's one of those films where it's not, you have to really sit down, appreciate it, and kind of get into it, because like you can literally turn off after the first 10 minutes if you're not the kind of historical person or kind of deep into drama and history. But David, I think it's David Oyelowo? I can't say his last name, sorry. But his depiction as Martin Luther King Jr. fantastic. It really hits the nail on the head. And even Oprah Winfrey's in it as well. She's Annie Lee Cooper, and even Common as well. It's got a great casting as well. But I think how it's told, how how it measures with history, how it really kind of like hits home with the civil rights movement in the US. Really, really fantastic movie. I'd recommend it to everyone. I think like even the biggest shame is that it got snubbed at the Oscars completely, and I think I can understand why because of its social and political themes. But to be honest, I just don't like the fact that when like a country like America or any other country kind of like tries to sweep its history under the rug. I understand why, because like you don't really want to acknowledge slavery as a thing, but at the same time you need to kind of not forget about history, because like you have revisionist historians who come in and try and rewrite bullshit when it's not real. We should kind of like understand where these kind of events went wrong and like accept it as a mechanism for moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really big shame. I mean, like he should have been nominated. David, I'm not going to say his last name. He should have been nominated for an Oscar for Best Actor. I definitely think he deserved it.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. That movie really. Huh?
Oh, sorry. By the way, Tom Wilkinson is Lyndon Johnson in the film, and when I saw him first, I was like, "Why is there Carmine Falcone talking to Martin Luther King?" Do you when you get that moment where you see an actor and you've seen him in like other films, like obviously he's in Nolan's Batman Begins,
right?
I was like, why is Carmine Falcone talking to Martin Luther King? It's like kind of broke out into a little bit of laughter. I was like, oh shit, it is.
That's awesome.
It's just one of those things.
He's like, I get it. You got nothing to lose, Martin Luther King. That's why you're doing this. But what about your butler and Oprah Winfrey? Bang! It's like, why is he Carmine Falcone? This is ridiculous.
I like it. Bang.
That's what he does. It's great. It's a great scene. Dude, yeah, I really need to see that. I remember. I thought the title. I understand why they named it what they named it. I'm happy they went in that direction. But I remember sitting in the theater and seeing the preview for the first time. I remember I turned to Rebecca, my wife, and I told her, "Is this about Martin Luther King?" Because I couldn't tell. Like, I'm like, why would they call it Selma? Why not like King or like King Jr. or something cool like that? But I understand they just want to go a different route. Movies are doing that now. They're naming it, different things and not caring about marketing and stuff. But yeah, I would love to. I'm a huge history person, not as big as you are. Adnan, by the way, is a huge history buff. But dude, it was always my favorite subject in grade school and in college and stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I love period pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I think why they did it cleverly to move away from Martin Luther King's name on the actual film is basically because Selma focuses on the incident that happens in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it kind of focuses. Like, it kind of moves around history and works in different places.
Right.
And you see Luther King go down to Alabama and they kind of fight there for voters' rights. And it kind of like doesn't really focus completely on Martin Luther King. It kind of takes in those extra areas, and a lot of it, like how people came together to kind of like support black people to get the vote down south. How the split opinions were across the state and everything else. And yeah, Selma is like the kind of big hub where one of the biggest incidents happens.
Right.
Annie Lee Cooper tries to register to vote there, but they kind of prevent her. And then it's really great for like how it's done, because it's kind of, we're not just focusing on Martin Luther King. We're going to take the bigger picture. We're going to give you a broader context of what everything, like different events playing into it. Because I think even show it with Lyndon Johnson as well, that like they keep telling him like you have to fight for civil rights movement. And, he's like, oh, I'm trying to do it, but, like, how you're approaching it, that's not helping my cause. And then, Luther King's like, I'm not doing anything wrong, which he isn't, because he's just doing silent protesting.
Right.
He's literally like the spirit. He's like Gandhi. He's just like, spiritually fighting them. He doesn't want to do violence. He's very much anti-violence. Mm-hmm. And it's really great how those kind of, like, crosses of figures happen. But, yeah, it's a fantastic film. I really, really recommend it.
Yeah.
But I even like the part where they put J. Edgar Hoover in it, and he tells Lyndon Johnson that Luther King is a problem. And it's just like, when you look at Edgar Hoover's history, it's kind of like that.
They should have gotten DiCaprio in a cameo. It would have been so great.
Yeah.
And they just make references to their like other movies, like, look, listen, for Johnson, it's not like I'm king of the world or anything, but just stupid one-liners. It'd be so funny. But damn, awesome, dude. I'll have to check that out. It's definitely I'd forgotten about that movie actually, because like you said, it kind of got snubbed at the Oscars. So I'll definitely have to check that out. Dude, for me, not much since last week. It's been really quiet. Obviously, I celebrated May the 4th, and that was really fun.
Of course.
But I have been reading. I didn't mention this last week, but I have been reading this new Star Wars novel. I always like to talk about my novels when I'm reading them, but it's called Lords of the Sith, and the book kind of was they had like a fucked up marketing because I think they tricked you into buying the book because this is how they marketed the book. They marketed the book as Darth Vader, and the Emperor get stranded on a planet, and all they have is themselves and their ability to use the Force to protect them in this planet. And it was supposed to be basically like a buddy cop movie with the Emperor and Vader stranded. It's like Castaway meets like the other guys, but Vader and the Emperor. And that's so not. It's so not what the book is. Like they have a little bit of that, but they're not alone. They have like the Emperor's guards are with him, which it's like why the fuck would the Emperor need guards? And then what's it called? But no, they have like a lot of it has to do with these characters from the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show. A lot of like they're aliens that Twi'lek aliens. This is getting really nerdy. That are on this planet called Ryloth, and they're trying to fight for Ryloth's freedom. So a big chunk of the book is actually continuing that story from the TV show. But for like I would say 80% of it is that, and 20% of it is Darth Vader and the Emperor. And on the cover, it's Darth Vader and the Emperor. And in the synopsis, they talk about Darth Vader and the Emperor. But then when you read it, you're like, they're barely in it. And when they are, it's awesome. It's really great. And it's just so interesting to see like how conniving and how evil the two of them are, because that's how the Sith deal, Like they're trying to learn from each other, but they're also trying to kill each other. Like they don't know when to kill each other to become the new master or to stay as the master. So in that respect, those parts are interesting, but I did think it was kind of a dick move for them to promote it as, oh, this is what the book is, when that's really more of a side story going on in the book, and in reality there's other, characters that they're focusing more on. But it's a really fast-paced book. I'm actually almost done with it. I only have like 80 pages left or something like that. So it's very fast-paced book, and it's a good read. I mean, I really wish it had more Vader and the Emperor in it, but if you guys are a Star Wars fan, or I would definitely recommend to read it. If you're not a Star Wars fan, I mean, if it's like $5-6, maybe $10 as an ebook, I'd recommend picking it up. I wouldn't really buy the hardcover though if you're not a fan. But yeah, I'm digging it so far.
You really love Star Wars, don't you?
Dude, this is the best time to be a Star Wars fan because the beauty, like the beauty of it is that Disney, I mean, I know it pissed off a lot of people, but in taking out the expanded universe, everything that's being released is canon. It's pertinent to the overall story to a degree, Yeah. There's filler crap out there, but it did happen, So like I'm reading books, and normally I probably wouldn't read these books because I know they wouldn't even really reference it in future TV shows or comics or anything like that. But oh yeah, dude, I'm like a pig in shit right now. Like the fact we have a new movie coming out in December and all this stuff is coming out, I'm having a great time. It's really fun.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the actual them scrapping the expanded universe, the earlier ones. I understand why Disney did that, and it makes perfect sense because it makes more of a nuisance for them to even kind of like carry stuff on from that.
Right.
And, if you come in and start something from a blank slate, it's much easier. And that, for business and for like quality, they probably did that. Mm-hmm. So that makes perfect sense why they scrapped it. I mean, like, I like the name of the book. I was think they always make a fantastic title or subheading or anything for Star Wars films. They always nail that on the head. Interesting that Vader and Sidious are only in it for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, they're talked about by a lot of the characters. Like, it's clear that they are the main focus of the book, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have a lot of scenes with them. It's really more people talking about them and their own bullshit that's happening. So because there's like several different, like plot lines going on, like most books should have. And but like the thing that they've always been focusing on, the marketing, is not the main point, and that's kind of like a bummer. So I mean, if they had marketed it a different way, I would have understood it. But it'd be like, imagine if you went and saw Force Awakens and it was not what you like. It's all about a stormtrooper, a day in the life of a stormtrooper. I don't know. Like, it'd be so bizarre because you're like, but what about all these? What about the guy with the fucking lightsaber? What the hell's going on? Like, no, it's about a stormtrooper.
I don't know. I'd actually be interested to watch or read that stormtrooper story. Like, what? Are you not interested in the day of the life of a stormtrooper?
I am, but just
I
not
certainly am. They must have like a fucking. You imagine that like training like video they have at the beginning of it. Welcome to the Death Star.
Like, what is it? Like, you are assigned to a bathroom on each level of the Death Star. Some of you may have to go to the top level, and they're like, God damn it, really?
You all get your own personal outfit. Yes, it's all different.
I know it looks all white, but we have things on the inside. Trust us, it's all nice. All right. You are part of the Empire now. Go out and shoot horribly. Like, all right, whatever. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing since last week. That and trying to lose weight, which is hard.
Let's not talk about that one. That's a hard one for most people.
Yeah,
especially for gamers.
I'll start crying if I talk about that. So